Looks like I'm live. It says I'm live. Hello, everyone. Rocky Ventura here. And hey, for those that don't know me, I'm Rocky Ventura, right? But I'm a member of the John Maxwell team, and I go and I put these videos on, and I enjoy just talking about personal development type topics, just things to get the mind thinking. And you can go look at my video history and see the types of videos I posted in the past. But I have an exciting one today that every so often I will talk about this topic. I think it's the fundamental of personal development, in my opinion. So anytime you see a speaker talking, I think that at the heart of the issue or their subject, they'll bring up this topic here. And so I wanted to touch on it. It's something that I do with some of my clients, with some of the people I coach and mentor. I always default to this topic here, and as you saw from the thumbnail already, from the picture here, it's the power of clarity. Right now, people call it different things. You open a personal development book, and I think probably the first thing they're going to mention, and it's probably worded differently. I know in the 7 Habits of Effective People, they call it put first things first. There's just like so many books that start off with have clarity, and clarity, when you think of that word clear, right? It's to have a clean, you think of it like a window. You're looking out a window and it's foggy, it's messy, so what do? You have to intentionally wipe it. Now, hopefully it's already clean, and so when it's clean, you got a clear vision. But sometimes you actually have to wipe it down and clear it out. And then depending on what else you're looking at, maybe you're looking at through a device, through some binoculars or something, and you adjust the lens and you get clarity, but you don't like the image, so you can turn away and look. And so this is what we're going to talk about today, and it's my favorite subject. I always start with this topic when someone says, "Hey, Rocky, I'm having trouble. I feel like I'm stuck," right? This is pretty much how the coaching industry starts, where a person is stuck, and so they just need help. They'll call a friend, or they'll call a coach, or they'll hire a professional, right? A professional fitness person to help them get on track, a professional, athlete, just someone who's been there, done that, knows all the tricks and knows all the excuses you're going to make. And they say, "I need some help." And so what's going to happen is the only way the coach will help you is if you understand what it is you want. And we, as coaching industry in the personal development world, hey, we call this clarity, having ultimate clarity. And everyone takes their spin on it. There's so many ways you can approach clarity, but I like to keep it simple. When I was in 2nd grade, I had a teacher named Dr. Hart. And he used to, when he would teach us English and how to write and how to think, when we were trying to understand the context of reading, he would tell us these, think of the five W's. And I remember he would sing a song and he would do it like this. He would say, "Who, what, when, where, why? Who, what, when, where, why?" And he used to just say, "Who, what, when, where, why?" And even to this day, like, and when I was a 2nd grader, like that always just stuck in me. Who, what, when, where, why? Like, if you want ultimate clarity of what that author is trying to say in the context of him teaching us how to read, ask yourself who, what, when, where, why, and sometimes how. And so I want to actually pull that in and use that as a framework for what we're going to do today. And what I really hope that you'll get out of this lesson is whatever it is you feel stuck in. Maybe you don't know how to you're not satisfied with your income and you want to progress. You're not satisfied with your relationship and you want to fix it, or you're tired of being alone. You're not satisfied with your health and you want to fix that, right? Your weight, maybe. You're not satisfied with your finances. You're not satisfied with your work. Anything, or you just don't know where to go. You're doing stuff, but you don't know where to go. I want to submit to you that having ultimate clarity in your life is the answer. So, let's play around with these subjects. Now, I'll tell you this. You go to a professional speaker, seminar, workshop, they'll spend days just trying to get this out of you. All right. So I am not going to claim that we're going to get all this. but I just want to get your brain thinking. Your brain is a beautiful thing, right? When you utilize your intellectual faculties of your brain and all that it can do for you, and you mix that with your senses, the way you perceive things through using your five senses. What an amazing thing that God gave us. And so I just want to help you. And so let's utilize the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, why, and sometimes how. Okay. All right. So let's start with we may take these out of order just for the pattern. But I'm looking at my notes here that I wrote. So let's talk about who. And when we say who, I want you to ask yourself, who am I? Because if you don't know who you are, I mean, and I don't know how old you are. If you're a younger person, you're in your teens, early 20s, they say for the males, they don't really develop till 24, 27. And I know females their minds develop younger than the males. But forgive me, I don't know the age right now, and I don't want to make up a number. So, but I know the statistic on males is like takes like over 24 to start their brain to finally mature to its final stage. Wow, right? So let me tell you, I don't know how old you are. I don't know who you are on the other side who might be looking at this, but who are you, right? That's for you to answer. And how do we even get to know who we are in the first place, right? Well, we're born, we're given a name. Maybe we wanted that name. Maybe it serves us. Maybe it doesn't, right? I know some people who got pretty creative with some of the names. Hey, even myself, right? I was given the name Rocky when I was a little kid. I used to get picked on with that name. They called me Rocky Balboa. Back in the days, for those of y'all know the cartoon, and Rocky and Bullwinkle. Oh, and heaven forbid the geography lesson, Rocky Mountains, right? Rocky Road ice cream. I mean, I'll tell you what, my name was, it was hard. It's no wonder why I got bullied in elementary, right? But, some of these things you can't change. The color of your skin, your height, some of the genetic stuff that you're born with, you can't change, can you? So some of those will to a certain extent define who you are until you can take control over it. All right. For instance, maybe genetically speaking, you may be big boned, as they say, right? Or you may be heavy, but science has proven that you don't have to stay that way. It's just that's how your genetically makeup is, but you don't have to stay that way. And there's enough science to support that now, right? Perhaps there's just been a series of drunks in your family, and science has proven that stuff passes down, right? Anger issues, all that stuff kind of carries weight. But if you decide to say, here from here on out, no more, you can change that. And in your genes, they call this epigenetics. Look it up on YouTube. Just Google the word epigenetics. And they call this the science is that the pattern, the memories of the genes, they pass through the family lineage. And so that's how we tend to pick up the traits and become who our parents were or their parents were. And it's very hard to break away from that. But I really encourage you to study epigenetics. It's an amazing field. But who are you, right? These things will set you up for who you are at that moment. But you don't have to stay that way, do you? I mean, if my dad was a drunk or his dad's dad was a drunk, or, as an example, I have a choice today what to do about that. Now, I might need to get some help now, right? Professional help even. Might need to go get a coach. I might need to get a friend and say, hey, keep me accountable. I might need to give up my debit card, my credit card, so I don't buy nothing. I mean, drastic measures, right? But this is all to say that you do have a choice. You might not like the action you have to do for it, but you do have a choice. So who are you? All right. Are you that overweight person that's been overweight for 10, 20 years now? And that's who you're going to be? We all know that overweight is not we don't want to be overweight. We know that obesity brings diabetes and stress and causes all kind of high blood pressure. So we know we don't want to be that. But is that how you identify yourself as? Hey, do you identify yourself as a minimum wage worker? Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, is that how you identify yourself as? Do you identify yourself as a person who's never going to get a bachelor's degree? if you had it in your mind one time to do it, but now you said, well, I'm not going to get it. That's just not me. School's not my thing, right? Is that the label you're giving? The labels that we give ourselves hurt us. They really do. What label are you giving yourself? I don't have time. A person who can't manage time? And you're the one who wants the promotion at work and you can't manage time? Yeah, let me promote you. Perfect candidate, right? But see, this is the things that we tell ourselves. So who are you? That's my question for you. Are you your past? That's that on the who, what, when, where, why framework. Are you your past? Do you want to be that? Do you want to stay your past? Right? And when I say past, I'm talking about your lineage now, right? Like who your parents were, who your grandparents were. No disrespect to that. I'm not trying to get to that. I just want you to think, is that who you want to be? The anger that your family had, the same things that they went through, do you have to go through that? Who are you? And do you see yourself in the question of who, the framework of who, do you see yourself as a person of worth and value? Because let me tell you, if you don't see yourself as a person of value, you're not going to value yourself, and therefore, you're not going to invest in yourself. Right? If you go, you see a car on the street, it's beat up, it's broken, it's glass broken, everything. In your mind, you're saying that has low value. I'm not going to pay $10,000 for a beat up car that's maybe worth $10. You see how we place value on things by perception? Why would you invest in it? Why would you go to college? Why would you put your resume in for that next job promotion? Why? If you don't see yourself as being a person of value. So who are you? All right. Write this down, get a piece of paper, and just ponder that question for a little bit. Who are you? Who am I? Ask myself. Hey, look at yourself in the mirror if you have to. But who are you? And this is why I love my faith, right? I've always got to put my 2 cents in about my faith. But I love being a Christian because the Bible says I am a child of God and I am loved. And I think, what else do you need, right? When the God of the universe loves you and you're loved by the God, what else do you need, right? You know who your daddy is, right? And some of us, that's near and dear to our hearts because some of us never knew our dad or don't know our dad or our dads are gone. So who are you? All right. Who, what, when, where, why, how? Let's go to the what. What do you want? Huh? What do you want? Quit playing games with yourself, especially if you're if you're past 25. No more games. All right. You get to have those little wander years between 14 and 24, let's say. That's a little too far too, but hey, I get it. Look, in all transparency, it was like 28 for me. But what do you want? Quit playing games. And one of the ways you figure out what you want is by, here's some tricks of the trade here. Okay. Let's take, I wasn't going to do this, but let's go in here. And it's going to push me back on time, but we're already here. If you want to understand what you want, you have to think of things that you're good at, right? Things that you're passionate about. And you know these things. You've known them since you were a little kid. You know, if you're a singer and you love singing, and you just got this itch and it's a burning desire, you want to sing. That's what you want. All right. If you've just always been a puzzle person and you like putting things together, figuring stuff out, maybe you're a mechanic, maybe you just like figuring stuff out. There you go. Right. You know what you want. And really the key is, are you doing that? Because if you're not, if you don't have congruency, right? If your life isn't congruent to your passion or what you're good at, and this is how I always preach this, is your giftedness, what you're good at, and your passion, they link up to form your purpose, which I call that, what do you want, right? What do you want? So you link what you're good at, you link what you love, your passion, you know, what wakes you up, what puts you on fire. You put those together and you got your purpose. Okay, now this is a longer lesson, by the way, and I actually have this lesson in my YouTube channel here if you want to scroll down and look for it. But hey, that's it. Giftedness, passion equals purpose. Once you got your purpose, figure out how to do that, right? Now, you might have a job now and it's paying the bills, it's meeting everything. But if it's not linking up with your purpose, you're gonna be miserable. You're not gonna want to go to work. You're not gonna want to do it, right? Now, be thankful for the job you got. You're not hearing me say go quit. I'm not telling you that. It's doing what it needs to do for now. But figure out a way that you can link what you want and maybe how to get paid for it, right? That'd be the best of both worlds. Or there's a job, out there that does what you do. I talked to a gamer. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if I get paid for gaming, right? And so you start a YouTube channel and you start off with 1 and 2 and then 3 and then, it grows from there. Or you go work for a gaming company itself and develop games. Their passion is being met and they're getting a good salary out of it, right? So it doesn't always have to be about the pay, but wow, wouldn't that be nice, right? To do what you want. So think about that when we ask the what question framework. What do you want? What do you want of yourself? Want to be the same person in your family tree, or do you want to be different? All right. They always say that we are the people that we hang around with. And if all you hung around with was your family in your life in the beginning, and your family is not what you would call successful, I'm not saying it, but you wouldn't call successful, and you hang around with people or friends or just your group is that way, how are you giving yourself an opportunity to kind of do what you want to do and get away from that? So just something to think about, right? Do you want to change? What do you want not only of yourself now, but what do you want of others? How do you want others to play a role in your life? Do you want a relationship? Do you want to be married? Do you want to be a parent? If you are a parent, how do you want your kids to see you? Clarity, right? How do you want your kids to see you? When they're 18, 25, and 30, and they're talking about their mom or their dad, whoever you might be on the other end, what do you want them to say about you? Man, I had good memories. I loved my childhood life. How do you get to that point? Today, right? It's tickling them on the bed. It's Daddy, play with me. Okay, I'll go play with you. You're busy, I get it, but you go do it anyway because you're starting with clarity. You have the end in mind, as Stephen Covey says in the 7 Habits of Effective People. So, what do you want from others? Having clarity of others, not only of yourself, but having clarity of others is very important for you. All right, we got the who, we got the what. Let's jump to the where. Where are you going in life? Where are you going? Now, if you jumped in a boat or a car or vehicle, what do you got to do? You can't just jump in a car and then drive around. You're going to run out of gas. You might get into an accident because you're not familiar with the roads. You don't really have no direction. You might make let me turn here, let me turn there, and you might hit a car. A lot of things happen when you don't know where you're going. So where are you going? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do with your life? And you got to ask yourself these questions. Get a piece of paper down right now, no kidding, and start asking yourself these questions. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Huh? Do you want to take yourself into a life, a legacy that you can look back on, later on and say, wow, I did what I wanted to do. I say this thing, what I'm about to say, I say it in my other videos, but there was a study that was put out. I can't remember her name, but it was a woman who used to work in elderly care. And she used to work in a home where, there was elderly that were dying almost daily, if I remember her saying correctly. And so she wrote a book called The 5 Things That People Say Before They Die. Oh, no, it's called The 5 Regrets That People Have. And she was saying that one of the number 1 regrets was that they wish they had the courage to act on what they wanted to do. And this was one of the questions we just talked about, right? What do you want to do? Is that who you want to be at the end of your life? You want your whole, we only have this one life, right? And we only have this one life. And is that who you want to be at the end of it? You want to look back and say, man, I wish I would have done this. And y'all know the feeling, because y'all probably done that before, right? Like, oh, if I had invested in this, or if I had done that, or if I had married this person or done this, or you probably do it already. But it's not too late to still do things that can impact your life. So I want you to think about that. I'm looking at my notes here. Where are you going? Where are you going now, and where are you going in the future? So let me talk about now real quick. If you stayed on the same track right now, like meaning you didn't change nothing, you just kept on doing what you do every day, which is go to work, eat and sleep, and party on the weekends, whatever you do. I don't know what you do, but that's what I used to do, right? I had no clarity in my life. So this is what my life consisted of. Wake up, party. A friend would call me. What are you doing? I don't know. What do you want to do? What are you gonna do? And blah, blah, blah. And then they exchange. All right, let's go out. Okay, where do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? Yeah. And it's just the same thing over and over. Routine, right? Eat, sleep, repeat, eat, sleep, repeat. And it was just like, what the heck? Like 5 years went by. Where did it go? Where did it go? And so, where are you going now? If you stayed on this track, if you stayed with the same job that you're with, and you made no attempts to drop some resumes or do anything towards your passion, towards what you want to do, what are the odds that you're going to be in the same place in 5 years? What are the odds? Pretty high, right? All right. Well, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. No, that's not what the Webster says, but I don't even know where that comes from. It's been repeated so many times, but you probably heard that. You can't expect a different result if you're not doing anything different. If you're complaining about your weight getting bigger and bigger and you're not doing anything about it, it's not going to go away. If you're complaining about your debt getting bigger and bigger and you keep spending, borrowing, it's not going to go away. In fact, it's going to get worse. So where are you going? And that's why I say, where are you going now? If you stayed on this track now, where's it going to take you? All right. It's not rocket science, is it? Like we know when we follow a path that says go this way. I'm from Texas, so if I follow that sign, I'm going to Austin. If I follow that sign, I'm going to Corpus. If I follow that sign, I'm going to South Padre. Signs, right? And these signs tell us. Science tells us if I eat too much without working out, right? And I eat a lot, by the way, but I work out a lot. So you see, these signs are there for us. People have written the book over and over and over. It's just, we got to read it and we got to keep ourselves informed. So, okay, where are you going? Now let's talk about where you're going in the future. Now that you know that if you stayed on the same path now and there are signs, how do you want your future to look in 5 years? And once you know what your future self looks like, and really think about this. It takes a person about 5 years to get a bachelor's, 4 or 5 years. It took me 6. But it takes a person a while to get a bachelor's degree. Put it in your head if that is your goal, right? To get a degree. 5 years. What do you need to do every single day to make that happen? What do you even look like in 5 years with a bachelor's degree? What do you look like with that next promotion that's right next above you or above that promotion? What do you look like in 5 years when your kids are grown up? Are you more respected by your kids? Do they love you more? Do they want to hold on to you more? Are they still calling you mommy and daddy? What do you look like? What do you look like? So this question stems from where are you going? All right. You got to know where you're going. And then once you know it, you let the future pull you. Okay. You let the future pull you from where you're at now. Let me explain it like this. You think of a building. How many times was that building built? Any building. Put any building in your mind. The building downtown, the biggest building you got. How many times was that? In San Antonio, we got the Tower of America, right? How many times was that built? Once or twice? I would submit it's been built twice. And how do I mean? It was built in here first, right? It's not like someone just started erecting a tower and all of a sudden it was there. Someone had to have visioned that. Where are we going? Right? They had to have visioned it in their head. Then they put in the work to make all the blueprints. And then they found the people to fill the blueprints, specs, and then they built it. But you had to have put some thought into it first. And they let the future, they just said, right here is where that building is going. There was nothing there before. Right? It was just flat ground. There was nothing there. It was just flat ground. And someone said, this is where that tower is going. Or this is where that hotel is going. Or this is where my business is going. If you're a business entrepreneur, right? Your future pulls you forward. But you can't have that unless you sit your butt down and think about it. Get away with the distractions. Stop leaning on Netflix. Stop watching all these. Look, I know we all need some R&R, but it can't be your daily repeat. Your brain is built for so much more. Allow your brain to really activate some thoughts and some ideas. And you get that from reading a book, from watching a YouTube video, from really just engaging things that will spark your imagination. So where are you going? All right, where do you want to go in your life? And think big. Use your creative faculties of your mind. Did you know you have faculties? Mind faculties, creative faculties. Those faculties are imagination, right? You have the ability to even close your eyes. Now think of a building being built. Block by block by block by block, right? All right, you see it. Now what color is it? All right, now where is it? Did you put it on grass? Did you put it in a swimming pool? Where'd you put this building? You see where your mind can go? Look, it's moving right now. Right now, my building's in space. What? That's the beauty of imagination, the power of it. Now, what if you just tweaked it to say, oh, where am I working at? What car am I driving? Right? Who am I helping that needs my help? You know, how am I helping the world in the community? See it. See yourself giving out food to people who are hungry. See yourself doing things, crossing the stage with that degree. Put it in your head and let it sear in your mind, right? What a beautiful thing imagination is. Let me tell you a few more of these faculties before we move on. Intuition. All right, intuition. All right, I some of y'all know this. I'm starting a company. It's called Intention It. And Intention It is based on you intention something, you intention on it. So it's got intentionit.com. You can visit the website now. It's not set up yet or anything, but I just wanted to throw that out there. But I had an intuition about this company, about this name. You've heard people say a mother's intuition, right? Like, how did you know that was going to happen? Well, it was just a mother's intuition. And you just have this sense about you, right? That says, they say that prayers when we speak to God, and intuition is where God speaks to us. My mentor, Paul Martinelli, says that, and he quotes somebody else, so I don't know where the quote originated. But that's interesting, right? If prayers are us talking to God, then intuition is God talking to us. And so, you just feel inside. You can't explain it. You've had these feelings, right? Like, I shouldn't walk in that room. I shouldn't go there tonight. I shouldn't drink that. I shouldn't be with this person. You just know deep in your soul, right? Like, it's just something there. That's intuition. It's a faculty of your mind, right? The will, right? The will to do something. Say, I'm going to push on. I'm going to persevere. It's the will inside. This is another one of the faculties of the mind, right? You have this will to persevere and keep on going. Think about the times that you wanted to quit and you did something. You finished something. Homework maybe in high school, bad memory or something, right? But some of y'all use will in the wrong way, don't y'all? So y'all are in a relationship that's way overgone. Your intuition is telling you to leave it. You got to have the will to do it. You got to have the will to do it. It's abusive. It's hurting you, ain't it? Okay. How about perception? The way you see the world. Now, perception comes from so many things. I mean, hey, if you were born a Republican or a Democrat, that's how you're going to see the world, as a Republican or Democrat, unless you open your minds to other things, and then you can see way. Maybe you become another party, or maybe it doesn't. Those parties don't bother you at all, right? You're just waiting for God to come, and you don't care what side wins, right? Jesus don't pick a Republican or Democrat. He picks who's saved, right? But perception, the way you see the world, the way you perceive the world. This is a faculty of the mind, and the way you grow perception is by expanding the mind, right? Hey, we thought the world was flat until it wasn't. And how did that happen? Well, through an experience, okay, right? We thought the earth was the center of the universe until it wasn't. We found out that we revolve around the sun. Then we found out there's other galaxies. So this is just, look, I'm just saying they thought it was crazy to fly. And now we fly all the time like nothing. They even laughed at the Wright brothers for inventing such a thing. So many people turned down their offer for money to help fund their project because they thought they were silly. And yet they utilized their mind to pull that thought forward. How did they know to fly? Think about this. There wasn't no flight regulations. No one taught them how to fly. They didn't go to you always say, oh, I can't start my dream because I don't have this or I don't have that. Think about the Wright brothers for a second, right? It's not like they went to flight school and said, oh, I got my flight certification, now I can build my plane. They didn't have those rules, right? They weren't invented yet. And so think about that for a little bit when you're thinking of starting your business. You don't always need to know how. You just need to have the will to do it. All right? You need to perceive it, that it can be done, because the perception is that we first got to allow ourselves to be in the zone of allowing the future to pull us, and then it pulls us in, and now we have a perception that it can be done. Memory. All right, let's talk about memory real quick. All right, well, we're still on the topic of where you're going. How does your memory serve you? Now, did you know that you can have a memory of the past and it can hurt you? Right? I think, raise your hand if that's you, right? You can remember a bad memory and it hurts, doesn't it? A bad memory. And then you can equally have a good memory and it can feel good, right? But did you know you can have a future memory? Did you know that? So we act out on our old memories, right? Like if we see a spider or something, our memory is like, oh, I remember that. I'm not touching that. When you were a little kid, something happened. Fire, you remember the memory of heat, and you're not going to burn yourself again, are you? But did you know the same thing can happen if you remember the future? How do you do this, Rocky? That sounds stupid. Okay, let me tell you. Remember, I told you imagination? You close your eyes and you imagine yourself. And you let that memory either serve you positively or negatively. You can have a future memory impact you. So you're thinking of the future, we call it the vision, right? And you think, I am 50 pounds less. And you see yourself. And your 50 pounds less person is saying, you did it. I'm so proud of you. And you're excited. And hey, today was the day that you made that decision and you stuck with it. You had the will and determination. I'm so proud of you. Your 50 less person is telling you that in the future. All right. But next to that person, right, there's a 100 pounds more person or 50 more. I don't know, whatever. And that person is sick. I mean, that person is breathing oxygen mask. Worst case scenario, it's not standing on a wheelchair, can't even walk. They're so heavy. And that person is also talking to you and saying, don't do this to yourself. You don't feel the 1 pound. You don't feel the 1 pound, but 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, 5, 10. 10 pounds is hard to lose, people. 20 pounds is hard to lose. I'm not trying to discourage you, but every pound that we neglect is another pound that makes it harder for us to fight off. So starting now is the ideal time for weight loss, for savings, for our retirement. You don't feel it now. You're not saving now. You're not putting away money. You're not looking into all that stuff, the world of investments, 401k, all that. You're not looking at that stuff because you want the money now, don't you? You want to have fun now. But what's the cost? When your 60, 70-year-old is talking to your 80-year-old, 90-year-old, however you're going to live, is talking to you from the future and saying, don't do this to me. You're young. You have the strength right now. Take care of me because I won't have the strength later. That's the power of a future memory. But you got to intentionally think about that. We spend so much time worrying about the past can't do nothing to us. It already happened. But the future now, I'd be so much more scared of the future. The future can do a lot. It hasn't even happened yet, and you should fear it. If you're thinking of the person that is telling you I'm overweight or I'm sick, I'm on a ventilator, what are you thinking of? So, all right. So we talked about some of these faculties of the mind: imagination, intuition, will, perception, memory, a reason. All right, that's the last one. Reason. And I'm not going to get into reason now because I'll move into reason as one of the 5 W's, the why. Okay, so who, what, when, where, why. We just finished the who. We finished the what. We finished the where. When will you get there? Here's the when. All right, when are you going to get there? Are you going to decide today after this video, no more, right? I am done. I like my mentor. He passed away 2008. But I call him my YouTube mentor. I never met the guy, but I love him. I love his videos. Jim Rohn, Google him. Follow his videos. Changed my world. But he has a segment in his workshop that he calls it the day that turns your life around. He even wrote a book about it. And this is the moment where you say, this is it. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Dave Ramsey talks about this. So many people just talk about getting to that point and saying, that's it. Michael Jordan did this. All right. When he lost, he didn't blame his team. He didn't blame nobody. He said, this ain't going to happen to me again. And he decided to bulk up a little bit, work out. Every day he practiced. Every single hour he practiced. He didn't blame nobody. He didn't blame the weather. He didn't blame this. He didn't care because he just focused on what he could do. And he was passionate about it. All right. When are you going to get there? When are you going to get to that point where you say, that's it? All right, maybe you've heard the story in history about the person going to war and they took boats to this place. I want to say it was the Spaniards. Anyway, they went to the place that they were going to go to, and they took boats there. And then they burned the boats because the soldiers were scared of the people they were going to fight. And that commander said, look, your boats are burned. You either fight and win or fight and die. The choice is up to you, but you don't have a choice. All right, so think about that now, putting yourself in that kind of situation. I know it's extreme, but what if you said, I either get in shape or I'm going to die? Extreme. But isn't it true? Your chances of a heart attack and heart disease and diabetes is just the health part. Then what about the finance part, right? Finance also stresses us out. So when are you going to say, man, I need a way to increase money? So I got to start that business I keep talking about. I got to go get that degree so I get that next promotion. I got to apply for that next job. When do you do that? Do it now. Now is the time to do that. All right. So we talked about the when, where. Now we're on the why. This is the last one. When you've done all that, who, what, when, where, now we're going to talk about the why. And this is it. Here's the question you ask yourself. Why is it important? We already gave some examples, right? Maybe going back, the weight, I use the weight one a lot because it's an easy metric. I use finance a lot. It's not that those things matter to me the most. They matter to me a lot, but it's not like it's just they're easy to use because they're metrics that you can use, right? I can't say I want to love more. How do you measure love, right? So I use finances and I use weight because those are easy measures. So I'm not picking on anyone that's not good with finance or not good with weight. It's not about that. It's just their easy metrics. So going back to the weight thing. Why is it important to you to lose weight? All right. Ask yourself that. Well, number one, do you want to live past 40, 50, 60? How far do you want to live? Like, in the first question, the earlier question, what do you want? How long do you want to live? And then what do you got to do to get there? And then if you stayed on the same road, living the lifestyle you're doing, gaining the weight that you're doing, being depressed and stressed at the way you're doing, you can Google the type of lifestyle that you'll live. Just put McDonald's food, uh, or fast food, without calling it company, fast food, right? And then just put average lifestyle. Heck, I'll do it right now. Look, well, I don't want to mess up the video, but yeah, just do it. Just try it out. See what it does. I'm very curious, but I'll guess what, 50, 60. I don't know. It might be too much. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, why is it important to you? Why is it important to you to get that next promotion, or to find the love of your life, or to settle down? You might be single and you say, I want to settle down with somebody. Why is that important to you? And then what are you going to be willing to do it, right? So ask yourself the why. There's so many books out there that talk about the why. Start with the why. Ask the why. The importance of starting why. The power of starting with why. Just Google the why, and you're gonna see. I think having a why is important. All right. All right. Who, what, when, where, why? And I told you my second grade teacher, Dr. Hart, used to add the word how. Now, how is important, but it's not. I didn't put it first because, look, I'm all about starting something for yourself. But you first got to know the why and where you're going and all that first. Once you got that, then just do what you can. You might say, well, I don't know how to lose weight. But you do generally understand you got to sleep right, you got to drink enough water. Those principles you understand, so start there. What else do you have available? You have YouTube, or you have the internet available, so you can go online and say how to lose weight. Something so simple as that, right? You say, well, I need a coach. No, you don't. It helps, and I'll do that. I can help you, but you don't need it. Now it eventually you'll get to a point where a coach does help, and don't get me wrong, I'm in the coaching industry, so you think I'd be preaching just more than what I am, but you can do this. You can do this. A lot of my coaches were YouTube coaches, right? And they were free. We just watch YouTube. I watch Jim Rohn all the time. Tony Robbins out there. There's just so much material these days. It's almost impossible to say that you don't know how. In this world of media, you know how. All right. You just got to know it's got to be important to you, and you got to let the future pull you forward. So don't get stuck on the how. The Wright brothers didn't even know you could fly, but they just believed it. They had an intuition that they could. So they did, and they didn't know how they were going to do it. What would they start for? Would they put the engine on first? Would they put the chair on first? Does it have wings? Does it not? How high does it go? How fast does it go? Where can we fly? Do we need a permit? Like, look at all these questions you got to ask. How do you get to the moon? How do you get to the moon? Amazing. All right. Well, I have overextended my time. 45-minute lesson just about, but it's my favorite subject. Look, what does a day look like when you're with me? If you were to call me up, say, I want you to help my organization, or I want you to help me one-on-one, what would a day look like with me? And I would tell you this. I would ask you, let's get clarity. Do you have clarity in your life? That's what I would ask you. And clarity, just think of it like wiping a window. You can't see out that window until you wipe it. You go in a car and it wipes all this stuff away, right? Clarity is those glasses when you don't have 20/20. And even if you had 20/20, you can still put on glasses or look at binoculars that give you that extra sight. I mean, clarity is amazing, and it just feels good when you can see things. And you say, that's what's over there. When you're driving at night, right? Like sometimes you can't see, so you put on the lights, and you need a little bit more, so you put on the high beams, but the high beams can only go so far. So you got to use what you got, right? So say you turn on the lights at night and it goes this far, your lights, and you can see that much of the road. You turn on your high beams, maybe you can see that much more. Good distance, right? Gives you enough to stay safe and keep moving. And that's kind of what life is. You'll have enough clarity. You won't figure the whole picture out, but you'll have enough clarity to feel safe on the road and keep going. And what happens as you move forward? More of the road gets revealed to you, doesn't it? And you'll be able to see those turns and everything like that. So clarity is important. All right. So don't forget about that. And so that's it. Look, hey, before we close out, I just want to let you know, I don't recommend doing anything. If you're a Christian now, and if you're not, feel free to message me, and I'd love to talk to you about becoming a Christian, learning more about God's word. But I always say, if you're a Christian now, the Bible says that you shouldn't always make these plans and just focus on those plans, right? It's good to make plans, right? A fool lives life without a plan and stuff. But remember, you want to live for God, right? And so you want to make sure that as you're doing these plans and thinking of things, that you're incorporating Him into the picture, and that you're allowing Him to lead you, all right? Allowing that intuition from Him to speak to you and guide you. And so in the book of James, it talks about that. Like, don't always make these plans and just be so set on your plans that you forget God's ways and stuff, right? You want to put Him forward. I think he goes so far as to say it's a sin to say, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, but rather say, if the Lord wills it. So when you make plans, get in the habit of saying, God, if you will it, this is what I want to do. Will you bless me in this effort? And usually when you're in love with someone, like you'd be in love with God, you'll find that your nature, your spirit, your heart wants to do what He wants you to do, right? He would want you to do. So they kind of go line in line when you have that prayerful life with Him and you live with Him. So I'll be praying for you on that. But hey, any other questions about this lesson? This is one of my favorite lessons. I try to teach this at least once a quarter, once every 3 months. But clarity, and I call it different names, by the way. You'll see that I already taught something like this in about 3 months ago. I called it something else. I can't remember what it was at the moment, but okay. Well, that's all I got. Thank you again. I hope the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, why. Start asking yourself, who are you, right? What do you want, right? Where are you going? If you stayed on the same path now, where are you going? Who, what, when are you going to be there? All right. What do you got to do to be there? Why do you want it? And then sometimes how do you do it? And that's the easy part, right? You just pick up a book and you just figure out, people, you want to talk about making money. Come on now. People have written books about this. Just get one of the famous rich people of our times. If you want income, pick up a book from someone who's telling you how to make the income, someone credible, but it's just so much material out there. If you want to learn how to open a hair salon or something, go take the person who works at a hair salon and take them out to lunch and say, how did you do it? You're successful. How did you do it? Don't ask for all these free hand-me-outs and stuff. Hey, they paid their dues too. So you got to take them out to eat or something, but ask them the questions. If you see someone's lifestyle and you like it, go take them out to lunch. One lunch and you get all these ideas from them. Hey, that's worth it. It's the best lunch you'll ever eat. So let me pray us out. Dear God, thank you, Father God, for just the mind that we have, these faculties you give us, that we're just able to do so much that we can just, even now, just think. If we want to be in the ocean in our mind, we're there and we're seeing the waves and we're saying, that's what I want. That's where I want to be. And we can just do all that. It just brings us joy, just thinking that's how we can just change our state of mind from being negative to being positive and feeling good. So, Father, I would just ask that anyone that listened to this, that you'd help them find clarity and that you give them peace. So many times the devil just says, you can't do that. You're not worth it. But we are worth it, Father God, because you place value on us. You value us. You love us. And because of that, we have value. And I know once we have value, that the sky's the limit, Father. So thank you, Lord, for all that you give us, for all that you are in our lives. And we just ask that you continue helping us and grow, and that we can be a blessing to others as you have blessed us. We ask all these in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, everyone. That's all I got. I appreciate your time. Very long lesson. I apologize, but my favorite lesson. I couldn't shortchange it. Okay. All right. Well, I wish you all the best. Take care. God bless you. All right. See you later. Bye.